SOC report. Yeah, there's different SOC reports out there. SOC 1, 2, and 3. That's for a start. At least that's the ones that are known. Um, from a cybersecurity point of view, again, that's why we're doing it here. Maybe the first one is not so interesting. I mean, yes, you want to make sure. I mean, the financial reporting audit definitely gives you a glimpse how they treat their own important information, because obviously financial statistics and reports, which are important for shareholders, are critical and crucial to run the business. So if they put emphasis on that, that's a good reference. But most likely, looking at that alone won't help you. I mean, again, it's what if it's available, have a glimpse on it and see. But and if there's no major issue, then at least you know that they know how to run their own business and their financials. But it doesn't help you because you're the customer. So many people focus on themselves first, and then the customer is probably secondary. So yeah, SOC 2 would be the one that would be interesting. It focuses on security, namely on CIA. That's the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data and systems. SOC 3 report is something like SOC 2, but it's the public one. You can imagine, I mean, technically would say, why is there even a difference? Because isn't this something that can be, I mean, is it something to hide? No, public and hiding, very different things. Public, you wouldn't want to expose some of your intimate security measures that you're doing in a public report. Well, it doesn't hold you back to make a public statement and say we are audited and we are great, but there wouldn't be so many details that would be unveiled in a SOC 3 report that you could consume. I mean, it's good because it would be probably accessible on the internet. Hardly someone does it because they rather go for SOC 2, which is more detailed, more deep, and more confidential, but therefore a bit more thorough and obviously a little bit more worth. And you don't blast it out to everyone. Clients can request, you sign an NDA, and the client can have a look. So it becomes a bit more like an intimate relationship already between your client and yourself as a provider. And you have it definitely better than someone just doing some internet research, downloading stuff and saying, this is not suitable. So again, SOC 2 is the one to focus on. There's two types. Type 1 is more a snapshot of your control design. So are the controls effective as per design? What is the difference to SOC Type 2, where the control effectiveness is tested? So effectiveness tested means, is there something like, is it really done right? Is there evidence for this? Whereas the other one is saying, is this a good measure? So again, if you want to go for the most useful of these, is SOC 2 Type 2, because that has the security, CIA, non-public, and it has control effectiveness. So it already inherits the controls being available. And usually these two audits here, Type 2, Type 1, are performed in a way. Type 1 is quite fast, so it's like a quick win, but it doesn't come across really organized and planned. Type 2, you have to prepare. It goes a couple of months even. Then you see, okay, there's some kind of a contingency. Whereas the first one, well, you can, I mean, literally you can make a show for a few weeks and get the first one done. But if you have the stamina to show over a couple of months the deliverables, then you might be more real with your things that you are getting reported on. So what is in these reports? Let's come to that. So of course a major part here is played by access control. I mean, there's lots of frameworks looking into it: authorization, authentication, multi-factor authentication, roles and rights review, so all that, the whole package. But especially also with critical information, they literally review who has access, when was the last review, recertification. So the full program on access control, any framework you pick, ISO or NIST, anything in access control is in controls here and is verified, and with examples and everything. Data protection, that's a critical one, because on the one side, yeah, you may have frameworks that are expecting a lot of encryption happening. Other frameworks are pointing on more data deletion and not even having critical information lying around. This one is more on privacy, so it may more in line with things like GDPR and things like that, which are focusing on not only the information protection but also the whole handling, the whole life cycle. Which is a good thing, because I say if you are giving this vendor some of your customer data, you can at least say, well, they adhere to the privacy law of your respective country, or even more. But it doesn't give you a real, wow, they have a rock star encryption key management in place, and they're really making sure none of the data is readable if it can't even leak, because they have great DLP and stuff. That is probably not what you would get out of it. You will just get a lot of processes around data privacy. So based on purpose, all these kind of things when you look at GDPR. So that's a little bit too soft, but I would say it's still good to have it audited by someone. It saves you a lot of work, but don't rely on it if you talk about encryption, and if you pay attention to encryption. Then operations, that's a classic one with patch management, security patching, and upgrades, and secure operation processes. So handling the system, picking up problems, resolving incidents, handling requests. So it's good. There's some controls that ask if you, let's say, you would know if they can run their whole IT properly. That usually starts with, do they have a ticketing system? And what's the turnaround time, how many breach tickets they have, and so you can see if you're basically, as a new customer there, would you rock the boat so much that suddenly the vendor is not capable to support you properly. So there will be a breach of SLA. Change management, because from a security point of view, change management is important. Change management can ruin a lot of good things that are in place. So if that's not properly done and thought through with impact analysis and all these kind of things, that might be an issue. So this audit will help you to understand how they're done. And of course, risk mitigation. So anything that derives from the top, let's say some access control not fully correct or something wrong, how do they deal with it? Because obviously, yes, we are all not perfect, and risk management is this kind of continuous improvement process in a risk-based manner, because you may have 100 small items to do, but if you're not focusing on the right one, next best action for tomorrow, you may cause another 100 items to come in. So there must be some thought behind it. So the risk mitigation and strategy behind it and approach is very crucial. That is even something, let's say, if you have this SOC 2 Type 2 report, don't just take it for granted. Use that as a starting point. When you interview your third party, start with risk, because then you see if they're really open to share what's wrong and how they work on it. And if they show you what's wrong, you know what the other areas look like. So if they tell you they have 5 risks that they're working on based on some IAM related activities, you know that access control is the weakness at the moment. And if they say that our risk currently focus on checking out the latest encryption protocols and applying them to our cloud rooms, then you know, oh, data privacy is a little bit more than I thought it is. It's actually really going technical. So therefore, I think risk is a good way to start to look into what are the gaps in the other areas and how they're actually dealing with it. Again, quick last minute opinion corner. Evidence check is mainly paper-based. Yes, unfortunately, because these audits are taking a long time. No one is sitting on site all the time and looking at it. So therefore, you could use that to ask for the real evidence afterwards. Preparation for audit is mostly one-time activity. Yes, even that's the ugly truth, and therefore I would be really careful how to deal with these things. Even SOC 2 Type 2, which is the longer audit, it might be very well prepared, but you still have to get a good feeling that this is done on a daily basis and it's really part of the processes. Again, that's why I start with risk management. You will understand how they're dealing with the current impediments. And again, finally, summary, good starting point. It's good that they have done it. It's good that they invested money and they were brave to go through it. But it's up to you to make sense out of it, and it's up to you to take action.